Hi, I'm Marty Gianniny, and this is The Marty Gianniny Show. As a full-time real estate investor and business owner, I have a real fascination of finding the key principles for business success and personal development. This show is a reflection of my personal mission to find out what truly makes somebody successful in business and in life. We will find tools and tactics that they've used to reach those levels. If you're the type of person is not satisfied with average and you have a hunger for learning that will never cease, this show is for you. Welcome to the show.
I had Max on, guys, because, very impressed with you and your brother and what you guys have been doing for the city of Rochester, really reimagining the East End area of Rochester. I'm really excited for what you guys are doing. I'll do a little step back for Max. So, they're a large property owner in Rochester and made a gigantic splash about 2 years ago.
Which one?
For East and Alexander.
East now, less than a year.
Less than a year.
August.
So a giant splash, 100,000 plus square feet of office, retail, multifamily, and just, doing the things that not many people would be willing to do. And how did this even come about? And so for those that don't know, we're talking like the buildings from where the new coffee shop is opening to Murphy's Law. What else am I missing here?
It's four buildings. Yeah, you have Hiram Sibley, which is locals only, Filgers, Birdie Social, and then heading west towards the city, you have axe throwing through the new coffee.
That's right.
And then that building also has a lot of vacant office. And then other side of the street, you have Murphy's Law building, and then Huther Doyle.
Huther Doyle.
Yeah.
How did this come about? Why was this something you wanted to do? What, you guys have been in multifamily and residential. This is a little of that, but not really. Was it just the history? Was it the location? Was it, this is something that we can work on for a while? Was it because you're crazy? Because, that's, you got to be a little bit.
Got to be a little crazy. We don't get called crazy. I think we've been called kind of fearless. You guys aren't scared of much. And I think that's been true. A lot of the multifamily, we did a lot of kind of lower income all over the city. So we'd been called that in that instances. And that was always, we were very comfortable being a little bit contrarian, being I think we can make it work. Charlie Ave, Dewey Ave, Genesee Street, whatever, which a lot of real estate investors would be too dicey. I'm not sure I want to figure that out. And we were just let's go figure it out. I think it works. And it generally worked. Just whatever model we figured out there. We did some commercial over on East Main Street across from Delta Sonic, where the Highline venue is. That was a building we took from pretty much vacant, demoed pretty much on the inside, to two tenants. The Highline takes most of the building, and then there was a retail who's about to leave actually. But they were there for a couple of years, so that was fully occupied for a while. Pretty successful project, still going strong.
Great building. I didn't know that was yours. Great work.
Yeah. So that was kind of dipping our toe into the actual development.
Understood.
As opposed to the residential, all we were doing. It was a lot of work, but it was never development-y. It was just taking something that's there and then just making it better, getting all the violations done, turning over the tenants, getting a better mix, all that. It was never some big change of use or new construction or anything like that, which I've still never built anything. And it's overwhelming to think about because I just walking in and being I can make this better. Just reimagine kitchen, bathroom, refinish the floors, paint, new windows, just using what's there, make it better. The idea of just I have to start from scratch, I would be paralyzed.
It's really tough because there's the two things, right? It's with residential, you kind of know what you can do to something or not do.
Yeah. The constraints are great.
Right. And you know that because you're going to give it a facelift, that especially in those markets that you're in, and I'm in those too, those kind of C kind of just, good people, but just there's not a lot of options for the really nice stuff that's out there. So doing it really nice, you can get a lot of action. You can pick and choose. With development in commercial, you can do a nice job, or not do a nice job. You don't know what these people want, number one. And so you kind of need to like build it to suit, but at the same time, it's got to be nice enough where you're not scaring people away. And then at the same time, for me, it's that waiting period of like, what am I doing? Is this the right thing? The tenant attraction is not, I like fast, right? We're in residential. We like, okay, I just did the work and I'm putting a tenant in that day.
Done.
This is completely different. And I'm in industrial now, so it's not that. It is not fast. It's long. It's a grind, and it's hand-to-hand combat trying to find tenants.
Bingo. So we had some commercial and some development. So in that part, it wasn't necessarily scary. My dad and uncle are in suburban office, or have been forever. And my brother worked with them for some number of years, 7 years. And so that office wasn't necessarily foreign.
Sure.
So really none of it was like totally foreign. It was obviously like our biggest project to take on in one bite, like by a lot. But yeah, there's no part of it that was just like, I have no idea what that is. It's like, yeah, we know. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's a little bigger, maybe it's a little different of a location, but it's like, same concepts. So wasn't that scared of it. I mean, the history of the properties was, previous owner was over-levered, went into foreclosure, and the bank had it. I mean, we like went to the auction, but the bank wasn't really trying to auction it. They were just trying to get it themselves, and then everything took forever. I mean, it was multi-years, which when I was like younger and first getting into this, the idea of something taking years is like painful because I wanted that quick return. And that's, both of us were gravitated towards residential because you can get that. You just buy a house and then you fix it up and you rent it.
Yes.
And then if you want to sell it, you can sell it. Or if you want to refinance, you can refinance it. As opposed to, some land deal. It's just like, what's an optimistic case, 5 years? Like
right.
I'm a 23-year-old. I'm like, no, I want to like see the fruits of my labor here.
Right.
So yeah, like we have our eye on it, and then the bank takes it, and you kind of shrug your shoulders and you're like, all right, we'll see what they do.
And they took it for like a big amount. It wasn't
was a
like
while. It was a receivership for a while, and then they took it, and they weren't in a big hurry, and then they list it. And honestly, most of these things, like we're opportunistic buyers. Like we've never been out there like buying top dollar for the best properties. We're like more like, oh, something's distressed, other people don't like it, let's go see what that's about. Maybe it's undervalued. And this like seems like a cool enough property that people would be really into it, or like some like big money people. And I think just like the timing of the area just like has had a image problem. Some more crime, whatever, cars are getting stolen, like the general city issues, but then also it being an entertainment district, like Saturday nights, you'd get some headlines of, something happening. So like, I think that scared a lot of people. They're like, there's probably some value to these properties, but I don't want to deal with that part.
Sure.
A lot of real estate investors get into real estate to not be, a lot of work and, PR work. And so, I think, and so then it sat there for sale. So it went for sale and it was, whatever, $8 million. And we're like, it's not worth that. And we assumed someone would buy it though, because there's a lot of money around and real estate often goes for a high dollar. And then it sat and we're like, let's go look at it. So we went and looked at it. Made an offer. They said no, made an offer. They said no, for months. Like, once again, this whole process is, I was like, in my youth, I think I would have lost my mind. And frankly, I'll give my brother a lot of credit. He's way better at this. I probably would have like lost patience and either like left or just taken a less good deal. But he was pretty good at kind of like playing the patience and all right, let's wait for him, blah, blah, blah. And so, eventually got a deal. I think we looked at it in December and bought it in August.
Wow.
And not like because there was some like massive delay. It was just like because every step just took forever. The negotiation took like months and months before we finally agreed on a price. And then, more financing delays, and they were West Coast. But their attorneys were on somewhere else, so like everything was just bouncing around, taking forever. So that was cool. It was really quite something at the finish line. You're like, I'm exhausted. I can't believe,
I know.
Can't
Now I
believe
gotta
we're
work.
still standing. Let's go. All right.
And now the real work.
And now, we actually get to start.
Yeah. And that's always like, buying's the fun part, and then the work of it. In what I loved about what you're doing is you've really spent a lot of time in like the trenches of the community of the East End, like with the vendors, with the owners of the businesses that are inside your walls. Did you know that was something you were going to be doing? Was it like, obviously shout out to Louis Mayer with what he did when he was with the association over there, but did you know that was something you were going to have to do? Like, hey, this is a big project. It's going to take a full army to really do this.
No, it was the most fun surprise. And maybe I've always like had a bad imagination of what exactly these projects will look like, and it made me do all of them, even though some of them were like giant pains over the years. Maybe I have like a bad prediction mechanism. I wouldn't have done them if I knew how annoying they'd be. But no, it's so fun that like everybody cares about Easton, from just people. Like I just like tell my neighbor, and they're like, "Love Easton Alex.
Yeah.
Have some fun memory from there." They're rooting for me. Like, "Good job, guys. So happy you guys bought that." Like people generally didn't care that much that we bought a 15-unit apartment building off Charlie Ave and fixed it up. I mean, they know that we did good work, and they're like, "Good for you. You guys work for yourself. That's so fun." But it wasn't like, "Oh, I'm going to be keeping an eye on it. I'm going to tell you some idea sometime," or like tell you when a commercial tenant's looking for a second location. Like it's just like the involvement. And City Hall, loves that it has local ownership and that we're active. We're there all the time. And the business owners, they're happy that it's a local landlord who's going to be like actively advocating.
And you really are there all the time. I mean, I see you guys outside there, especially in the summer. Obviously, it's cold. I do see you outside, but you guys are walking the beat on it felt like a daily basis in the summer last year, and I'm sure this summer as well. And it is unique though that you guys really have taken on such it's because it's a lot of time and effort to like really do the community side as well as trying to like, hey, I'm trying to make this business work too.
Yes. No, it's a lot of time. It's fun. Yeah, my brother and I were just talking about that the other day. We're like, it's been a lot. You have to figure out where that sweet spot is.
Yeah.
Because you could sort of just do infinite, especially when you're like promoting an entertainment district. It's
right.
sort of the sky's the limit.
Right.
If we just want to just be pursuing every idea of, like we were just like talking about RTS doing busing from the colleges to there.
Yes, need that.
And it used to happen, I guess.
Okay.
I don't remember it ever happening, but I guess it used to happen, stopped happening. It could happen again. You have to kind of front some money for it. It's kind of expensive. And this is like in our dream, like all of this is getting done by the business owners because they are the ones who are more directly benefiting from it.
Right.
We as the landowners, it's pretty indirect. It's years down the line we
right.
might benefit just because the area is doing better and rents do well, et cetera. But kind of our whole idea here is to come in with a lot of energy and help revive it, just like, we'll be doing stuff even if it's pretty, parallel to us, making money.
Yes.
And so we're willing to do it, but yeah, to your point, it's like, you can only do so much because it's a lot.
It's a lot. But kudos to having the energy to do this because I'm sure there's been many punches in the stomach with the project. With any project, there's punches. And to keep the energy is probably going to be my biggest hope for you guys. And as someone who's I'm a big fan. I care about this. My first property that my family owned was on Gardner Park, so I'm there, right? So we have a couple buildings at Gardner Park. We obviously partners on the East Ave apartment building, and so like this is the area. Like if this can be great again, then amazing. And I love what you're going to be doing with the. Talk about the spring thaw or the thaw. The music festival.
Let's go there. I do want to say something about. All right, I mean, so much comes together in like us ending up with the deal. You look at these foreclosures and just the general timing that allowed us to be the buyers, and what I think has allowed us to be there all the time is that our own lives worked out pretty well, we manage all of our stuff. We have 200 apartments, storage facility, commercial, and our like staff has been super solid. It was 3 years ago. We had a full-time office, full-time maintenance person. We were a little smaller back then. That was like our core crew. And they both had significant others move out of state for a job in the same month. And so we just like went from like having this like well-oiled machine that like we didn't have to like do, all of the day-to-day tasks, which we built it from scratch. So we, at one point, were doing everything. And then we kind of outsourced it and then left, which was awesome because they had been with us 4 years. But we were like, oh, shoot, like this is ton of work. You got to like rehire people and like heavy training curve. And then what was funny about that was that was in January. My first kid was born in March, and I had taken on a gig teaching at U of R, doing an adjunct professorship, which that was my first semester. So I was like, it's a lot of work to teach your first semester, and then whatever. Once you figure it out, a couple years later, it's groovy. I'm not doing it anymore, but yeah, that like perfect storm of like, holy cow, this is a ton of work, and this is more than I want because I want to be hanging out with my wife and kid, and I want to be focused on work or whatever I want to be focused on, or either any of the things, but there's too many of them. But we're here. Office manager's been with us 3 years.
Great.
Maintenance staff is solid, so we're not being pulled too much towards that kind of like day job of managing the properties. They're doing a great job. And so we can just be walking up and down Easton Alex, seeing what we can, some enthusiasm we can drum up. So that's been great. There's that story. Flower City Thaw is a fun little spinoff we did, or we are doing, we conceived. So yeah, music festival one day. I guess I'll tell you the long version because we're on a podcast here.
Go ahead, baby.
We have time constraints.
No.
Doing the Joe Rogan thing.
Yeah.
3.5 hours. Let's go.
Wow.
No, our kids will want to see us in an hour or so. East End Fest used to exist.
Yes.
And I don't know how many years ago it stopped, like 8 years or something like that.
Has it been that long?
I think so.
Yeah, could have been.
It definitely wasn't around right before COVID.
No.
So yeah, someone in that like 2014, 15, 16.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I believe it.
So was just asking around about it, like who remembers it the best, what like went into it, how big was it, just trying to figure out if we can bring it back. I think Easton Alex would be a more logical place for it. It used to be more towards Liberty Pole, is kind of like west of Scio there, which that has less nightlife now, and I guess some of the problems where the neighbors didn't like it, the residential, et cetera. I'm like, Easton A, like who's going to complain about a party? It's like that. It is where the bars are.
Exactly.
It is the loud part of town already, so let's just do it there.
Yep.
Just kind of in learning about it was focused on the problems with it, of just like how expensive it is throwing a big party in the street. You're dependent on the weather, blah blah blah. And I hope to bring it back someday, but I was like, that's a big leap right now. Why not just like bring it inside? You have all these bars that are beautiful, and venues for that matter. Let's just do it in there. And so just like a multi-venue. I used to, in a former life, did a lot of music, a lot of concert going, festival going. Used to go to South by Southwest in Austin. And that's like a mostly indoor multi-venue music festival. So they're not just like creating, like Woodstock or whatever is like the original, like, oh, let's just create the festival.
Right.
Like, just take a field and we make the festival there. The opposite of that is just like, oh, there's venues. Let's just like, you get a wristband, you get to go all around all of them. How about that?
Yes.
And that second one sounds way simpler because it's like they already exist. Like,
Yes.
It's great. The bars are already there. Their liquor licenses are already there. If it rains, we're already inside.
And there's good space in those to have bands, I would assume, in some of them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, a lot of them have already done music
Yeah.
over the years. And so, yeah, I just started pushing that, talked to a lot of people, built a team, got a couple guys on board. Ray from Local Sound Collaborative, which is like right here. They're above Bitter Honey. Where are we?
Yes. Yeah, we're right here.
Are they in this building? Are they?
I think just to the building next door.
Next door.
Yep.
Yeah, Local Sound Collaborative's next door. So I was chatting with Ray, and then he was like, "We need Jeff in from Three Heads. He'll love this idea." So the two of them know the music scene very well. So I kind of knew I was enthusiastic about the idea, and I know the venues well, and I know all the bar owners. So I could call them and say, "Hey, let's do this." And they're like, "Great, that sounds pretty fun. Let's do it." But I don't actually know all the local acts. They do. Literally just like practically in minutes, they're just like texting everybody, and people are like, busy that day. That sounds awesome. And then so they kind of built the schedule. And so that's fun. So I've learned a lot about throwing an event and getting sponsors and some of this detail stuff. But it's been a pretty fun side project. Excited about it.
I'm excited about it too. I think that's how you change a culture of Easton Alexander. Or the East End area is bring back what people loved about it, the music, or bring back the good memories, the not unfortunately, we've gotten bogged down with some of the bad branding of it, with being in newspapers, because it's just easy to kind of, even though it might have been on a different street, but just claim it as East End. I even told Louis when it was like in the worst of times, I go, we need to just call it West Park Ave, like just completely. There, it's no, what's East End? I don't know. This is West Park Ave, so I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, no. So those are like the little things, but I do love that there's some of like the classic places that are still there that are, you want to see keep going, right? You still want the Murphy's Laws to keep going. You want the locals only. You want these people to keep the Santiago cigars and whatever it might be. But you want them to try to keep it going. And obviously we're getting into the better time of the year for everybody, for these types of businesses. So hopefully that does. What are you seeing with the with some of the? Are you doing construction right now in any of those buildings, or like with the office? Like how are you guys gonna?
We've done some just like kind of small build outs.
Yeah.
One new tenant, it was an architect who just took like 1,200 square feet.
Great.
Just kind of small wins like that definitely keep you excited.
Yeah.
And then Huther Doyle took some more space.
Great.
That was this expansion within their own building. Yeah, managed that build out. Fun. No like big stuff. I mean, a lot of people assume that we're going to do some residential conversion. We're maybe contrarian to a fault. We're like, I don't know, maybe we can just rent some office. I don't know. There's a lot there, and there's a lot of beautiful office there, and I think it's a compelling office location. I mean, I think it's just like in a soft market, which office no doubt is.
Sure.
It's not necessarily equal. Like, not all office buildings, suffer equally. Like, you have Legacy Tower, the old Bausch & Lomb building.
Yep.
Full.
Yeah.
Killer rents.
Yep.
And you have kind of like the worst C, maybe suburban or something, but not in like a great suburban location. It's like, and that one's just getting creamed.
Yeah.
And they're not like all at, 75% occupancy. It's just like some are at 100, some are at, 20. And
right.
So it's very unequal. And I'm like, I'd love to compare this to, Village Gate, who has pretty good office occupancy. Or even like over here. It's just like you have some enterprising landlords up and down, like kind of like this public market area. And it's like,
right.
There's pretty cool stuff. Just walking up the stairs here, I'm like, there's stuff going on. I feel like I could be renting these types of tenants. It'll take a little time. It's not as much as the beauty of the residential conversion is that you're done.
You're done. Yeah.
But the downside is that it's like $8 million.
Yeah. That's,
to convert 40,000 square feet of office.
Not that I did the math or anything, but it's about $8 million.
Yeah. Just a lot. Time. It's like, we start now, and even if we did it scrappy, it's still a long time. And you're doing it, there are some tenants there, it's mostly vacant, but then there's still like, you have to move around them. There's one tenant who's probably going to leave in a year and a half, and it's like, do you just wait? And so there's funky stuff like that, or you try to do the historic tax credit, which like just to ask about the tax credit takes 6 months, and it's just like I'd rather just kind of hopefully just like kind of rent some offices and do this kind of more scrappy iterative, which is I've always liked doing kind of more incremental than all right, let's do nothing,
right,
and then spend $8 million and then be like done. It's like let's just kind of wing it and see what happens.
My thought is that. Well, a couple theses is that, number one, I think a lot more people will be moving back to Rochester in a 20-year, maybe it's 50 years. I don't know the years, but with everything going on with climates and people not, wanting to be hurricaned out or fire or whatever it might be, where they're going to be like, well, where's like a climate I don't have to really worry too much. Okay, well, back home where you were born in Rochester, we have the Great Lakes. We have all these great things here, right? So I think there is going to be, and everyone is like, you're crazy, like the weather sucks, all these things, right? That's fair. Sometimes it does. But we don't have any of these massive climate issues. We have all the great things you could possibly want in a community, being that it is a great community, Rochester. So I do think that people will be moving back. And like I was saying with the fresh water, like that is something that's important, having that. I think that we have the infrastructure for a lot more people to come back. And I think that area, East Alexander, just like everything else, we are in, and I wouldn't even say we're at the bottom. I think we're coming up, right? I do. Maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was at the bottom of the, if you're looking at buy and sell, I think it's coming up. I think that people are going to get sick of going to Fairport. I think you can only have the ivy on the back of a bar, come here with the new stuff. It just gets old after a while. People, why did I like East Alexander to begin with? It was weird. You had interesting people with piercings that I haven't seen before. You had people that came from weird backgrounds that were just interesting. You had, you had the artists. You're not going to get a bunch of artists in Pittsford and Fairport. So it's not yet, but people are going to get kind of sick of the same kind of look that you're going to get in a suburb bar district, entertainment district. It's going to be cool again to not go there and go, hey, it's a little grungy over here. I like it, right? That's what Dublin Underground, Murphy's Law back in the day, all these cool little spots where it was just, it was a little dangerous, and not for crime, but just you just felt oh, this is city. This is interesting. We're not there yet, but I think with what you're doing, making it, let's get the bands coming. Let's get artists back here. Let's get the coffee shops. Let's get the weird back in here. And although to the credit to you and everybody, all the business owners there, to kind of put up with the pain of, hey, we have to shut this down a little bit. And I don't know, people probably don't understand because it's only through our association that I'd even know about it, right? Truly. What was that like in kind of explaining that to some of the business owners? Because they're only really going to look, who they talk, they don't talk to the city all the time. They talk to the landlord.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. No, that was a funny, day one thing that we didn't expect that we would be taking on. It's oh, you're going to buy real estate. So we're going to start, doing build outs and, renting space. And it's no, just kidding. A month-ish after we bought it, they instituted the, what do you call it? Whatever, the barricades is mostly what we refer to them now. But yeah, shutting down the street to car traffic, and you have to get wanded to go into it. So it's kind of an entertainment, the flashy branding is entertainment district, and the more is just a security checkpoint. Just kind of depending on how you look at it, it's one of those two things.
Yes.
And it is pretty easy to defend it as just this is a thing that happens. You get wanded going to a Red Wings game.
Right.
So why is this so crazy to do down there? But I mean, obviously it's a weird vibe. And plenty of people were just that's weird. There's alternatives. I'm going to go to Park Ave or Fairport or wherever. So there was some immediate downside. The upside was that there weren't any incidents
right
from September till now.
Right.
It had just kind of gotten out of hand where there's this tailgating culture of people going to East and Alex without actually going in the bars, drinking in their car, doing the motorbike stuff. Just that kind of loitering. And it had gotten pretty wild. In retrospect, they should have nipped it in the bud, 2-3 years ago. But, is what it is. And now I'll give the mayor credit for being hey, let's just shut it down. It's going to hurt a little bit. We'll meet every week and talk about how we can make it better. And so, yeah, incidents are down. And I think it's kind of slowly building, kind of the same thing where it affects everybody differently.
Yeah.
Certain bars were oh, this really hurt. That really scared away a bunch of people who were coming here, and some bars are we're doing pretty great because of whatever reason.
Well, it became, what I thought was really interesting. This is the safest part in the city on this night. Yeah. There is no safer spot because I would think that if I'm in college or if, when Marty Jr. is 21 and he's going into this area, yeah, go ahead. It is shut down. This is the space I would want you to be in. I don't think anybody probably did as good a job as they wanted to in kind of getting that message across. But when you really think about it, that's what it was. That's what it is right now. And so I think that's really cool. It's just, it's just going to take time. It's just time. And I think the things that you're doing with, or what the whole association is trying to do is, just beautify the barricades, put up trees, make it welcoming in that this is some place where you can really have a great time. How is that in order now, with all of that in reaching out to bring in tenants, obviously part of there's some vacancy there with and I don't even know, I believe you own where the pizza place used to be. Do you own that side?
Anthology?
Yeah. No. You do that. You do own that or no?
No.
Okay. So that part of the building. So
I may though someday.
Well, okay. What do you got?
No, so yeah.
Can you tell anything? But you don't have to if you do.
Well, I'm just more superstitious. Yeah, more so just superstitious than anything else.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
I've been working about that. That was a win though. A lot of it was that we were snooping around that building because we were we need Anthology back. What even is an entertainment district without Anthology?
Yeah.
And so long story short, we had a lot to do with getting that new group in there.
Great.
Josh and that gang, and they're awesome. It was actually just at the ribbon cutting 2 hours ago.
Oh, sweet.
Mayor swung through, and they have their first big show tomorrow night.
Oh, great.
So yeah, Anthology's back. Any music fan in Rochester knows exactly why that's important.
Sure.
It's pretty much the best venue. I think most people declare it as such, especially in that medium size concert hall thing. So it's killer to have them back. And then, we may or may not end up owning the building, which would be great. But
oh, sweet, that'd be great.
And getting the building kind of back developed. It used to be totally full. There's multiple bars in there.
Right.
Back in the day, all the Daisy Dukes and
right.
A-Pub and Tonic, and before my time.
Yeah. Soho.
Tonic sort of started it all. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Camp's Pizza, getting redeveloped, and then potentially the upstairs after that would be fun for later this year, 2026, which hopefully we can be a part of.
That's great.
See how it all shakes out.
That's great.
But yeah, no, that was a fun project. You were asking, I guess, about leasing up, or you were somewhere in there.
Yeah. What do you do for leasing? What do you got? Was it Facebook? How are you doing it? How you brokers? Are you reaching out to brokers? What does that look like for you?
We do have a broker, Benchmark. Adam Rooney is over there doing both the office and the retail. I mean, there's a lot of also just it's a small town. If you have an empty restaurant, it's call the 12 people who know the most about restaurants. There's restaurant groups who are super prolific, and if they don't want to do it, maybe they know someone who does. Maybe they have someone who manages their place who says, oh yeah, I always wanted to open my own blank. And I'm like, oh, I have a perfect space. So you do a lot of that, just raw networking, and hope that something there goes. But yeah, the Gianniny coffee guys are opening up in a few months in the corner there, and they were just through a broker and looking for a spot. They liked it. It's kind of that cool corner.
It's a great corner.
A lot of glass, great for a coffee shop. So that'll be fun. You said a lot there. I wanted to touch on a couple of those things. I think that, you have the perception issue. I have a story that may or may not make sense. I like telling it though. I do think in general people say stuff about perception that isn't really backed up by their actions. They'll say oh, it's dangerous there. But then if you give them a reason to go, they're like, oh, sure. Even East Nashville, there's so many East Side suburb people who are oh, I'm not going there because I just like going to Pittsford now or Fairport or Park Ave, whatever it is. And it's just well, what if I told you, there's a concert at Anthology? They're like, oh yeah, I'm going. You're not a hard no. You're
Correct.
a soft no. You're
yeah.
If given 5 options, I'm not going to go to East and Alex because I don't know.
Well, you haven't been there in 4 years.
Inertia's big, and just sure, it's competitive thing to get people's attention and to make them choose your product or service. So my silly story is my wife's family's from Honduras, a not particularly nice country, violent issues, poverty issues. And so we were there some number of years ago, 5 years ago. And we were in the capital, Tegucigalpa, and we were arriving, and they're all acting like we've never been anywhere, and they're like, it's really dangerous, don't do all these things. I'm like, no, I've traveled a lot. I know not to just have my wallet, on top of my head or something. Right. I'm not gonna get in some weird unmarked cab or just any other thing. And I'm we were with family, so But they like giving that show. They're like, oh, this is dangerous. And it's like, cool. And then they were like talking about this like specific neighborhood. It's like, or then they're like, oh, it's not that bad, but like, don't go here at night or whatever. Lo and behold, we wrap up dinner in this like sort of nice part. And then they're like, oh, we should really go to this part. Because there's like a market there or something, like a night market, and you can get food and drink or something. And like, there we are. It was like hours afterwards. It was like, if you have a reason, then people suddenly change their tune, or they have 2 drinks or whatever. And so I do think that most of it is like a programming issue. I think you just need to have a lot of programming. Music is obviously like a great one. Sports is a great one.
Yep.
Like right next door, down below, like Ziggy's has done a killer job just being like sports themed, cool dive bar, sports bar. And people come to like an unassuming part of town here. Like, public market's not like, the village of Fairport, but they've gotten a lot of people to come here.
Yep.
Mediocre parking. It's not like it's some like gold spot.
No.
And so it's like, you really just have to dial in, like have great service, have some cool programming, whatever it is. If it's shows or cocktail tastings, whatever, I think you just have to like give people a reason to say yes. They're not a hard no.
Great point. No, I think and you're taking a very thoughtful approach to it too, like you in your company. See, me, when I was thinking about how do we change this, I go, we got to put a casino down here. I was like, we got to do something drastic, right? But it doesn't need to be drastic, I don't think. It just needs to just be thought out and purposeful and community outreach and getting a lot of people's opinion, although that doesn't always help, but it does give ideas on what you could do, maybe adjustments and here and there. But yeah, my thought was like just right off the bat, like we need to do something crazy here. We need to put a casino down here and get people back here. But looking at it after seeing what you've been doing and everything, I'm like, that might not have been a great idea. Doing something like that.
Yeah, there's a scenario where maybe drastic is the answer. And I guess in some ways shutting down the street was that drastic thing that we were able to just like move on top of. And it's just like, all right, given where we are, let's do like that. This is great. Now we don't need a casino because this is going to work. Yeah, there are no incidences, so people can't really say like, oh, it's someone got shot down there.
Right.
No one. There haven't been a gun incident in ages.
Right.
Like, come on down.
What does it look like? And if you haven't really, that's hard to do. But is there like like, hey, no, this is the way I would love it to be? Is it a mix of like what would it be like 5 years from now? What do you think?
Okay, so I do have a good answer for that. So what happened? And some of Easton Alex I experienced because I was around in bits and pieces of my 20s. Here to witness it, but like some of the early stuff I didn't know. I never went to Tonic, blah, blah, blah. So it's like hard to capture all of the different iterations and the vibes. Something that is true now is that too many of the businesses are all concentrated at making money from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. There used to be more food options. And some of that is the world changed. There used to be like a killer business lunch. You get like Johnny D talking about what, all the bankers and all of this, that's like where they were going. There was like, white curtain, eating going on there. And it's like, okay, well, that's gone. Okay, that's fine. But could we be trying hard at happy hour or even just a more easy example is just like locals only is killing it.
Oh, good.
You can't get in there on the weekend.
Yeah, good point.
Is there room for another brunch option?
Sure.
And Studio Lounge actually does pretty well too. I think they're only once a week maybe, but it's jamming. Cars are parked on the sidewalk.
Oh, good.
They're jamming. And then you look at Veneto, 7 nights a week. That place is
one of my favorite restaurants in Rochester.
It's really good.
Yeah.
And I'm walking around at like 5:30 on a Tuesday, and I'm like, holy smokes, it's already 3/4 full. We're not even at dinner hour.
Great food there.
Can we handle another restaurant?
Absolutely.
I think the Alexander does decent. So it's just like, okay, I think that more people could be trying to make money, not late at night.
That's a great
new
point.
New coffee shop coming in. I would like to have some wins in that career. So like, what does it look like in 5 years? Okay, so more, I don't want to call it 24 hours. Is it 18 hours or something like that? So just like, you've got great morning options, whether it's coffee, whether it's breakfast, brunch, more lunch options. Right now, I think Locals is the only game in town.
Wow.
I think Murphy's will probably kick a food program off at some point here. I hope that includes lunch because I think it's there. But yeah, no, I think that's what success is like. I think the the bandwidth is already there to absorb a lot of nightlife because it was already there.
Yeah.
And it hasn't necessarily disappeared. So I think that as that late night crowd comes back, that's easy to absorb. But we don't need more. We don't need another, nightclub. It's just like Vinyl's doing great.
Sure.
One shut down or got bought, and so they're renovating. They'll be open at some point here in 2025. And it's just like, no, I don't think we need like more, dance clubs. We're pretty good. Like those are two giant places. Like
They're gigantic.
Vinyl fits like 700 or something.
They're
it's like,
gigantic.
It's really big.
Yeah.
600 people can fit in Vinyl up and down. And I think one's much bigger than that.
It's huge.
Yeah, huge rooftop, all of that. So we have plenty of capacity late night. They're already there. I think like where the wins will be is getting another killer dinner spot, another brunch spot, stuff like that. Plus, if we rent 10 to 50,000 square feet of office, it's just like that's going to be driving more kind of just feet on the ground throughout the day traffic.
Great point.
So
great point. And that it's kind of like all of it will work together if we can, it's like if you build it, will they come? I think so. Mm-hmm. So that would be great. And then, you obviously have a hotel right over there too, which is probably doing okay. I do see people.
I think the hotel does pretty well.
Yeah, I think I see a lot of people there. I'm not sure what's going on with Old City Grill. I hope that they're doing okay. I don't think that they are. But I would love for something cool to be there. That's a great little piece, I
think we've had this move towards events. And we helped open that place on East Main, and Arbor is giant, and they're opening, on Union this year. I think actually supposedly in a few months.
Is that the old Wendy's?
Yeah.
I was wondering what was going there.
Yes, and that's huge. They're killer operators. They're kind of the OGs of urban event space.
Absolutely.
Arbor Loft was kind of the first one.
Yep.
And their port one is great. I've been to the weddings there. I've never been to an event at their downtown one.
Really nice.
Killer space. Beautiful. So if they do anything like that on Union there, it's going to be beautiful, and I think it'll be successful because they know what they're doing.
Yes.
So bringing event business, kind of similar to concert business, it just like supplements so well. So you have these bars, hopefully some future food. I guess I should have mentioned like pizza or a Hots place is what there used to be, I think you had two pizza places at one point. You had Pontillo's and then Ciano's, but then Cam's, like kind of serving that crowd both late night and kind of earlier in the evenings too. So I think getting that back, and especially, if you have Anthology booking 500 to 900 person shows multiple times a week, it's like, well, I think you can make a pizza place work across the street from that.
Hell yeah.
And maybe a Hots place too. I was been thinking about that being a good idea. So events, but then back to Old City Grill. That's a killer event space they kind of have behind there. It's a cool bar, and that patio is awesome, but they also have like rooms for rents, I think.
Oh, right.
Another thing that just helps supplement of just like if someone's having corporate events, a small wedding, whatever that you can fit in there, that's great. So whether it's Jolie or someone else who figures it out down the line, I think that'll be just more bringing stuff down.
Yeah, when that's successful, when any of those like little things are successful, like Anthology, and I know I will do well, obviously, and then the Arbor, like that is going to bring some beautiful excitement to this area, I believe. What else you got going on? What else do you do? What do you do for anything exciting? Anything besides work, real estate, family? You still play soccer? What do you do?
No, retired soccer. It felt like everyone was getting injured in their 20s. It's not the kindest sport, especially if you're playing it like on a competitive level. People are like slide tackling.
They are out of their minds. That's when I blew out my knee was when I was 22. Yeah.
No, you can't. You're putting too much of your health in someone else's hands that they're not gonna just like knock you over, put a cleat in your knee. And I ended up drifting a little bit more like country club sports, like tennis, golf.
Yeah.
Total control of my.
You can play forever.
And you can play forever.
Yeah.
And so I have fun with those. Play paddle tennis, play in their club paddle league. On Thursdays, playing music. So I'm putting a band together for the music festival.
Nice.
Which is maybe a lot.
What do you play?
Guitar.
Hey, now.
Lead guitar for Other Brother. Which this will be our first show as that band. I've played with just about everybody in some other version of bands. Been playing a lot of guitar.
That's great.
Trying to get my chops back.
Hell yeah, let's go. I look forward to seeing you up there.
gonna be fun. So,
What do you do at your company, and what does your brother do? Because
That's a great question.
like, who takes care of what?
So it started with me because my brother was employed happily with my dad and uncle, and I moved back to town, and we just bought a rental property together, and I worked on it, and because I had the time. I was seasonally employed before that at a ski resort, and then I was just like, hey, I got time. Let's do it. All right, let's do that. Fixed it up, and then it was done. And then I actually went back to the ski resort because I was bored, and so I went skied for a couple months, and then came back. And then had a job I wasn't enjoying, and I was just like, all right, let's try to find some stuff to that I can just sweat equity my way into a job. And so we started buying a lot of stuff in Beechwood, like single families, duplexes. Back in those days, you could buy stuff from banks. They were boarded up. It was kind of a different era. They were just kind of sitting there, as opposed to now where you have to be at an auction, bidding against 12 people.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's so much different.
Yeah.
2013, 15, kind of that early few years, they were just kind of there and pretty cheap. And it's just like, okay, you can make it work. Especially if you're doing the work yourself.
Yeah.
So did a lot of work there. And so that kind of pushed me into the maintenance role. And then a couple of years later, he joins in full time and kind of filled in the office role. So it's kind of that accounting, leasing, kind of office administrative stuff. He generally is spearheading, which hopefully gets delegated. Office manager, accountants. We have a bookkeeper now, et cetera. And then maintenance staff kind of works under me. But it can get, it's actually almost kind of funny, some of the weird ones. I was just joking about this today. For some reason, there's just no explanation. He does elevators.
Oh.
It's he would never dream doing a roof thing. If someone calls about a roof leak, it's no, it's Max work. But for some reason, elevators 100% Blake.
That's hilarious. From all that work at the office, because there's so many probably elevators is that why? From his just experience at office?
So our first elevator was at the storage facility we have on East Ave. And so, he was there. So it made a lot more sense.
Sure.
I was sometimes there, but he was more often there. So it was oh, yeah, you take that. Mm-hmm. And then it just kind of happened. The East Main project, he mostly project managed. Mm-hmm. And so then as it switched from project management to maintenance, some of it just kind of was sticky. Because they would call him. Yep. And so it's just oh, they called you.
Yeah. Yeah, love that.
Sorry. There can be funny stuff like that. But the general divide is I'm doing maintenance, he's doing office. But there's plenty of fun overlap.
I love it.
And now we have stuff like this, and it's just uncategorizable.
Yeah.
It's ribbon cutting and, talking about the barricades and where we can move them. And
well, you are now the, I guess call it the executive director, president of that association.
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
I was filling out paperwork. I was I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you stood up and talked in front of everybody. So
yes, it's official.
Yeah, it's official.
Whatever I am. Director, something.
Well, that's an important piece, doing stuff like this, which I appreciate you coming on the show, man. It was good to really hear some of the stories and learn about what the plan is. And I know it may seem whimsical at times, but I know that there's you guys know what you're doing. There's something there. It's the history and the architecture, everything there is ready for something amazing to happen at the East End. And so I'm just happy that I'm adjacent to it. I'm happy that I have some stuff that's near it. I'm happy that I think everything, it's cyclical. We were in our down moments, and now we're moving back up. And it's funny because Matt Druin's a buddy of mine, and I was asking him about this one area of town that he was buying in, and I was I can't even remember the district, but I was like, hey, this is, this might come up sometime soon. He goes, it's already up. It's not down. It's up already. And so I think that's East End. It's already up. It's just reimagining it, getting some more life into it, and then the people will come.
I've been optimistic since before we even bought it. I was just I love this deal. It's a great deal. And then we closed, and I was I can't believe we actually got this deal. I love this deal. And I don't know. There's plenty of things that are not perfect about it, of course, but that's just built into the purchase price and all of this stuff. It's my expectations are adjusted accordingly. But I'm very bullish. You were kind of talking about Rochester in general, and climate and any number of things, and I'm just like, our downside's low. We kind of, I think, bought it pretty cheap and manage it ourselves. So it's hard for it to go like spinning out of control bad when you have not that much debt and you're in control of it. I'm there every day. And the upside, there's just so many ways it goes well.
Yeah.
Like, the city makes large headways in like crime, or our schools get better, or some of the big cities of the country people are less happy there and they move to medium-sized cities. There's so many ways that it goes up, and I just don't think there's that many ways it goes down, and I'm having fun doing it, so I'm not going to burn out. It's like, sweet.
I think that's the key.
If it takes 5 years, great. I'm having fun.
That's the
bring
key.
It on. Okay, that's fine.
Having fun.
Not burning out is like number one.
Exactly.
That's the rule you got to learn.
It really is. Because of how long everything takes. It's hard, and especially if you come from, like for me, like getting into commercial has been a challenge, because we're a house flipping company. We do 20 flips a year, so it's like, yeah, we buy them and we sell them, and like, I don't want to call it instant gratification, but the gratification of the value add is it's going to be there, and you can just earmark freaking 6 months from now after we buy this house, it's going to sell, right? Complete opposite when you go into this world, because of just the buying process. Like you were saying, it took 2 years or whatever it was. It was a long time in order to even get the deal. And oh, by the way, there's environmentals. You had to probably do those things, and then you got different attorneys redlining, and then so it just takes longer. But I'm becoming better at that. I'm becoming like, hey, this is just the way it works. And the pain, because there is pain, I'm feeling pain, but what I've become at least aware of, and I wouldn't say I'm okay with it yet, but I become aware with it, is like, that is what stops a lot of people from doing it too, like the pain of it all. And if you're okay with it, and people like to say, well, I'm a problem solver, right? It's not problem solving. That you better be a problem solver. It's not just like, are you okay with a lot of problems? Because there's going to be a lot of problems. And so like doing that while being an optimist, and just, well, you were saying, I got that architect, it was, 1,000 square feet, but how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And what you have is an elephant. And so it's just like one bite at a time, just freaking chopping wood, just like your dad, chopping wood.
I think I remember the thing I was staring off and trying to remember earlier, which I think is fascinating, and the Bills event, which was
that was dope.
Largely a Louis creation, and it was super fun, super successful. And there was a funny moment during the planning. We originally were going to do it at the beginning of October, and then like right before we went final with the date, we realized that Fairport was doing the same thing on that day.
That's right.
And we were like, shit, we can't compete with Fairport. And so we moved it to a couple weeks later, which was also an away game, and which whatever fits the Bills at the right time on a Sunday. And so it worked out. And ours was much better.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a great comparison, because theirs was very small, and it was kind of just a different vibe. It's kind of like bring your chair and there's a TV in a parking lot.
Right.
And ours was a ripping festival,
way better.
DJ and food trucks, and all the 2 giant screens. And I realized that there might be an inferiority complex that has developed with, in some ways, the city as a whole, and with Easton A there, that we would be scared of Fairport for this event. And I'm just wondering how much else that's true. I think if you're talking music events, I'm just the city, we could beat anybody. Fairport could probably be the closest who could come to. They have some decent venues out there. If they tried to do a festival the same as I was doing on the same day, it's I think I'd still take the city. We have some absolutely ripping venues.
Absolutely.
All close together, doing the same. And that's their strong suit, is that it's all kind of a villagey vibe.
Right.
But I'm just I still think we could take them. And so I'm just I'm feeling out where this inferiority complex is, and trying to squash it out, because it's it can be harmful, because you're just oh no, we can't pull that off. It's no,
that's
we are the ones who
great
can pull
point.
that off. Our bars are the most beautiful. There's tons of history there. They're really cool. They're in close proximity. It's this is the best. Our buildings are a bit more beautiful by a lot.
Such a great point. Where did it come from? Yeah, great point. Like I immediately said in the beginning of the show, Fairport.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and why are we even saying Fairport? You know what I mean? Like, how did they get that freaking...
Hey, had to them. They opened up a bunch of certain bars, catered to a certain group of people, and they're doing great, and young people like going there. But it's like, oh no, I think we could still take them.
Absolutely.
I like to think that we could take it back. I could think we could take back that exact same business, but then also let's not just like assume that they've taken everything.
Sure.
They haven't taken music. They haven't taken street festivals. It's like I think there's a lot of stuff that we're probably hands down better at.
Absolutely.
Still, as long as we're willing to do them.
Absolutely. No, I think you're right. Where did that come from? I think it ends today.
Let's do it today.
It stops today.
March 7th. Let's go.
Anything you want to leave anybody with, Max, about East End, the projects, besides when is the thaw? When is the East End thaw or Flower City thaw?
This is the fun season here. We got St. Patty's.
Right.
It's one of the best reasons to come down.
Absolutely.
To East and Alex and the whole East Ave downtown area. And then 3 weeks later, April 5th, Flower City thaw. And I think just, go check out what's going on. I think it's easy to not, keep tabs on everything. I think there's some stuff sneaking around that's cool. And that's actually something I'm doing with the association is trying to launch a newsletter that has like a calendar.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of people don't know, like Studio Lounge has an absolutely ripping brunch for one thing. And like their dinner, it's just like sells out like most Saturdays.
I love that.
He's doing some live music. And I'm just like, oh man, that was kind of hidden there. I didn't know that. And so I think there's a lot of those where it's just like, oh shoot, if I knew that, I might have. So yeah, just go snoop around. The East and Alex has its own social media, like Instagram. You can snoop around there. Just, go check out some places you used to go to, et cetera. I think that's all I got now. It's going to be a fun year.
It's going to be a great year. Max, thanks for coming on the show, brother. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, Marty.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the show, boys and girls. So like Max was saying, stay alert for the Flower City thaw. I'll be there April 5th. Really excited for that. And all the great things that are happening there. And just remember that it is something that we're all excited about. And I'm excited to see you there. All right. Take care. Brush your hair.
Thank you for tuning into the Marty Gianniny Show. If you're listening on Apple Podcast, leave us an honest rating and review. If you're on Spotify, make sure you follow us for weekly episodes.